This is Juventus, one of the greatest footballing institutions we have ever seen. They've gone toe-to-toe with Europe's elite, one of the most storied clubs not just in Italy, but world football. Juventus, for all their glory though, were at the center of perhaps the biggest scandal in football history, the Calciopoli scandal, which saw them stripped of titles and relegated to Serie B, losing key players as well. They have since rebuilt their club back to the very top of Italian football, dominating the 2010s. They built the board with smart recruits in Giuseppe Marotta, who went on to be the CEO of Juventus, and his apprentice Fabio Paratici to be the sporting director. They signed now Juve and Italian legend Leonardo Bonucci for 15.5 million euros, Andrea Barzagli for just 300,000, Arturo Vidal for 12.5 million, Stefan Lichtsteiner for 10 million, and of course Andrea Pirlo, who in my eyes is the greatest deep-line playmaker ever, who joined Juve on a free after 10 amazing years at Milan. The final masterstroke was Antonio Conte. They conceded only 20 goals in 2011-12 under Conte's management and won the SerieA undefeated. They went on to win 2 more SerieA titles under Conte, who left in classic Conte fashion, I have to say, by clashing with the board, and then after him, in came Massimiliano Allegri. Another 4 consecutive Scudetti. Their fall started with the signing of an aging Cristiano Ronaldo though, in a bid to help them win the Champions League. Ronaldo was incredible for Juve. It was far from the problem, but it wasn't their identity. They didn't win the UCL with Ronaldo. This was also the season where Marotta had left along with Max Allegri, so the club was in constant turnover. Maurizio Sarri came in as the manager. He won them the Scudetto and left 9 straight SerieA titles. Hi, welcome back to T.H.S. Leave a like, subscribe, and let's get back into the video. So Juve have since fallen off a cliff, you could say. It's a giant club, but they have been plagued by bad decision after bad decision, spending huge money on players who, in my opinion, don't deserve that much outlay. And since the lockdown season, their highest league finish is third, coming under Allegri back in 2024. They've hired up-and-coming tacticians like Thiago Motta, who couldn't adapt his tactics to the level of Juve, which is a big step up from his Bologna days. They've since hired Igor Tudor, who is okay, a former Juve player, but he isn't in the upper echelon of managers. His Juve was very inconsistent, conceding goals left, right, and center, and so he got sacked. In comes Don Luciano Spalletti, Scudetto winner with Napoli, playing some incredible football back in 22-23, but a bit of a mixed bag since then. He's even had a stint with the national team. Spalletti came in mid-season around October after the sacking of Igor Tudor. Now, let's take his Napoli side as a case study. How does Luciano Spalletti set up his teams? His Napoli side was a possession-heavy side, baiting the press by playing out from the back or going direct to Victor Osimhen to either hold up the play or to run in behind. If the opposition didn't take the bait, Napoli were more than happy to play through the thirds and break teams down. Spalletti uses one of his fullbacks to form a pseudo-back 3 to aid the build-up, releasing the other fullback to bomb high up the pitch. Spaces will be freed up and runners are always utilized. Of course, he used ball-playing centre-backs, most particularly in Kim Min-jae, who either passed or carried the ball up the pitch. He likes a press-resistant 6, who sets the tempo and controls the game with runners and box-to-box midfielders ahead of him. Combinations and triangles were a big part of this team, allowing overloads especially in the wide areas. Of course, there were the superstars in Victor Osimhen and Ficha Kvaratskhelia, who are the mavericks in this team, capable of creating something out of nothing. Formations are just blueprints these days, and Spalletti thinks no different. Systems are fluid, and players pick up different positions. So how is this philosophy translated to Juventus? Editor T.H.S. here. By the way, I wanted to let you guys know I'm going to be using the JLA Tactics board. It's not sponsored or anything. I just love using that tool. I'm a big fan of JLA. And if you guys want to use it, I'm going to link it in the description below. Now, they use the 5-2-3 shape that Tudor used. That's the formation they use. Nothing crazy here. But when they do have the ball, both wing backs fly up the pitch, the 2 wingers tuck in, and they hold a 3-2-5 in possession shape. This is pretty basic. It gives you solid combinations with passing triangles all over the pitch, as well as giving you a good rest defense structure. I think the biggest story under Spalletti is the revival of Weston McKennie. McKennie's a midfielder by trade, but Spalletti plays him at right wing back. Now, ideally you want your wing back to be fast, incredible crossing, having this attacking output. But like I mentioned earlier, rotations are huge in this team. McKennie, despite starting at right wing back, often finds himself running in the channels rather than out wide, interchanging with the right winger in Conceição or Zanova. This brings Juve a more natural midfield in those central areas and also gives them an overload. The same thing happens with Kenan Yildiz on the other side, one of Europe's best talents right now. 7 goals and 4 assists in this area at the time of recording. Yildiz more often than not stays tucked in, kind of in that left half space, but he also peels out wide to aid the build-up, vacating space for a runner like Thuram, for instance. He then jumps back into the half spaces, creates something for himself or others. The same thing happens with the striker, Jonathan David. Now, David has had a bit of a rough start at Juventus. He's not scoring goals, but he is integral to this system. Tactically, he gives them an edge, right? He drifts out wide, allowing for a run from the left wing back, Cabal or Yildiz. These dynamics happen all over the team. They are very good at breaking down teams in this fashion. The midfield double pivot is usually Locatelli and Thuram. This is a perfect midfield double pivot dynamic. Thuram is an all-rounder. He's very good box-to-box. He's a good dribbler. He's a good presence out of possession. He's tall. He's physical. And Locatelli is much more of a calm, more of a sitting, holding midfielder. He is the hub of the team. He's the captain. He's a deep line playmaker. He's kind of like Andrea Pirlo. Well, like tactically, he is utilized like Andrea Pirlo was. He feeds the wing backs and the forwards from deep after collecting the ball from the center backs. The left center back would step up into the midfield to aid the two midfielders both on and off the ball sometimes. This has usually been Théo Koopmeiners, who by trade is a central midfielder, but is playing that more of a hybrid left center back, center mid kind of role. The issue with this, though, is that you're going to be leaving two center backs to defend the wide spaces. Your wing backs can't aid them because they're way too high up the pitch to recover in time. So if you lose the ball, you're kind of exposing yourself. Spalletti always uses a variation of a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 in his teams. He has himself said that he wants to experiment with these systems with different profiles, and it would be better, I think, for this Juve team to use a back four rather than a back three, both in and out of possession. I think the 4-3-3 or the 4-2-3-1, some kind of variation of the back four system, has been heavily popularized lately among the big teams, and I think Juve should be no different. I think they should use the back four because I think it gives them the solidity in and out of possession. Spalletti has the philosophy, right? He has got the basics down, but I think it's very obvious that he's not going to continue with the back three. So how can he maximize this team? There are clear issues in depth and tactically at center back and on the wings. Now, they have good depth at center back. They've got about 4 or 5 center backs that can play to a high level, but they don't have the best ball players in that defense. Pierre Kalulu, I think, has been very good for them lately, but he is more of a carrier than a passer. Brewer is the best defender at the club, but he is injured way too much. I think the best center back for this system would be Gonçalo Inácio of Sporting. I made a video on Gonçalo Inácio making a move to Liverpool. It was a couple of years ago now, but since then, no one's really made a move for him. You know, I've really liked this guy for quite some time now. He's played in a back three system back then under Ruben Amorim, being the primary hub for his team on the ball, progressing through and passing consistently. It's insane that no big team has come in for him, honestly. I think the step up from the Portuguese league to the SerieA can be very good for him. SerieA is a defender's league, and with Inácio coming into his prime years, developing in SerieA under Spalletti would be very good for him before maybe making a move to another big team or staying in Italy and finishing out his career at one of the biggest clubs in Europe. Now, as for the left wing spots, I'm gonna make a bit of a rogue shout here. I think Jadon Sancho would be a very good option for Juve. Think about it, it's an expiring contract. He hasn't been good enough at the Premier League. He's not physical enough, not fast enough, but technically you can't doubt his skills. Really good technically. The problem with him is confidence. The problem with him is he's just not good enough for the big leagues, and that's okay. And the SerieA it's not the fastest of leagues. It's a really good league, but it's kind of slow. As compared to the other leagues, it's kind of, not as physical. So I think Sancho should move to the SerieA. He has been linked to Juventus before. He's been linked to Juventus, to Roma before, but the move never capitalized. But I think this is a kind of player that you bring in. He's a free transfer. You're not going to pay a transfer sum for him. So bring him in, experiment with him, see what he can give you. And if it doesn't work out, just move him on. But Sancho, I think, is a really good option. Sancho and Yildiz as the two left wing options would be really good. But I think more times than not, Yildiz would play in the 10. And Sancho will be tucking in from the left wing. He can also give you cover on the right wing as well, if needed. They've got good depth there, though, in Zagrova and Kostic, who can play both sides, as well as Conceição. We've seen the SerieA lately become some kind of a rebirth league, right? Zambanguita at Napoli, Lukaku at Inter, Højlund and McTominay most recent. Can we maybe add Jadon Sancho to the list? I mean, I'm a Man United fan, and Sancho's a player that has frustrated me so many times, but as a player, I really like him. I really like his qualities. I remember back when he signed how excited I was, and to see him revive his career would be absolutely beautiful. I think he is a perfect fit for the SerieA. Juve at the moment are 4 points behind league leaders Inter, and if history is anything of a teacher, we can see that the SerieA is the most open league every season. Milan are on a good run right now. Conte's Napoli are coming for it too. It's going to be interesting to see who can win the SerieA this season. But much like Kenan Yildiz, Ayub Buhari is also being eyed by Europe's biggest teams, and a big move might be coming for him.